Welcome back, everybody. Jake Day, your favorite media wingman. Donald Trump's approval rating has improved. CNN is completely flabbergasted. They don't get it, even after all the Epstein stuff. This clip is fantastic.
CNN chief data analyst Harry Enton now with what the numbers tell us about how the public and the president's base feel about the story that won't seem to go away.
Interest in the Epstein files and the Epstein case is sky high, and the American public does not trust what the government is selling them. What are we talking about here? Is the government hiding Epstein's alleged client list? Get this, 69% of Americans agree that the federal government is, in fact, hiding Epstein's alleged client list versus just 6% who say that they are not. And get this, a majority of Republicans and Democrats do, in fact, agree on this issue that the government is hiding Epstein's alleged client list. You can never get a majority of Republicans and Democrats to agree on anything, but they do agree on this particular issue. And perhaps...
Did Trump not say he would bring the country together? I mean, that is promises kept.
I keep my promises.
Not so surprisingly, you get a plurality of Democrats and Republicans agreeing that they are dissatisfied with the amount of information that the government has released so far. What are we talking about this? Well, we're talking about, if we look at Republicans and independents who lean Republican, 43% are dissatisfied with the amount of information released so far, compared to, get this, just 4% of Republicans who are in fact satisfied with the amount of information released so far by the federal government when it comes to the Epstein case. And we look over here on this side of the screen among Democrats, get this, 60% of Democrats and independent-leaning Democrats are in fact dissatisfied with the amount of information released so far. And get this, just 3% of Democrats are in fact satisfied so far with the amount of information.
Why would they be satisfied at all? Like, are they all on, is that 3% on the list? Is that where of all the things it's okay to be partisan over, this would be one of them.
Information release. Now, you see this. You see that the plurality of Republicans are dissatisfied. So how is it impacting President Trump's overall approval rating? Republicans who approve of the job that Donald Trump is doing. Get this. In our CNN SSRS poll, it was 86% prior to this whole Epstein saga. Now, it's 88%. In fact, the percentage of Republicans who approve of the job that Donald Trump is doing has actually, if anything, climbed a little bit according to our CNN polling. How about Quinnipiac? 87% before this whole Epstein saga started approved of the job that Donald Trump was doing among Republicans. Now it's 90%. So
this is Teflon Don right here.
See agreement between the CNN polling and the Quinnipiac polling. Yes, Republicans are not thrilled with how the government is responding to the Epstein case, but so far they are in fact not taking it out on Donald Trump, at least when it comes to his overall approval rating. Now, you might be asking yourself, why? Well, I think this nugget gives it all away. Republicans who said the nation's top issue was the Epstein case, get this, 1 respondent, not 1%, one respondent of Republicans said that the nation's top issue was, in fact, the Epstein case.
We need to know how many people they were asked. If they only asked 10 people, that's still 10%. And of course, it's not the most important issue facing the nation. There shouldn't have been a single person who thought that the Epstein case was more important than the cost of living situation going on.
Dealing with is a public that is very much dissatisfied with how the government is responding so far to the Epstein case. A lot of folks, both on the right and the left, do in fact believe that the government is hiding Epstein's alleged client list, but yet when it comes to his approval rating, Donald Trump's approval rating with the Republican base, so far they're sticking with him because at this point, even if they believe the government is potentially hiding something, they don't think it's all that important.
It's not that we don't think it's important, it's that it's not the most important thing in the country that we're dealing with. So my wife said that if I'm able to pay off the car by the end of the year, that she will let us adopt another kid. She was probably being cheeky because she assumes that I can't do it.
You underestimate my power!
I am going to do it, and I am going to hold her to the promise. All you guys got to do is like the video, and all I got to do is keep uploading them.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I didn't do fucking shit.
Despite all of these efforts at maybe distraction with other stories or, simply the president trying to dictate by Truth Social post.
This guy kind of looks like a sober Hunter Biden. His daddy must have loved him. And not in the, the Biden come take a shower with me kind of way.
It's remarkable that none of that seems to be working.
It is that you would think all the things that that Donald Trump's supporters have been maybe at odds with or in contradiction or some sort of cognitive dissonance with Donald Trump, he's been able to overcome that. I think a lot of people are thinking about what happens after he's gone. It's also something that's really become sort of a core tenet, almost a quasi-religious belief among a certain portion, a very vocal portion of his base, and that's not so easy to wave away. Look, I think there are a lot of people taking advantage, say on the Democratic side, of that cognitive dissonance and trying to sort of poke fun at this. But we're also getting in kind of a dangerous territory here where the conspiracy theories begin to, you start making fun, you start sort of poking and saying, hey, look at this contradiction. And then you start sort of feeding into those same conspiracy theories that there's something here. We know what the story is. We know what he did. We know what Ghislaine Maxwell did. She's in jail right now because of it. There's not much more there, but these politicians can't help themselves in playing into it. And I think it's a real problem on both sides of the aisle here.
Search of Epstein's name on YouTube filtered only to show videos uploaded in the last week found more than 40 with more than 1 million views each, a number of them featuring late-night TV hosts roasting Trump. But the fact that this had...
the same TV host who just lost his show, probably. Classic.
...has found such a broader audience and has some staying power also speaks to the narrative in many ways.
Absolutely. So when you take a look at the issue that's at the core of the Epstein case, there's actually two. One is child exploitation, which has always been such an issue on the right and amongst Trump's base. And then the other is deep state cover-up, right? Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, ahead of entering the FBI, a big rallying cry was the deep state, the government is trying to cover this up. And so this was a core case for the MAGA right. And how this has evolved is Democrats are now seizing on this issue because, to Michael's point, when there's a lack of information or it looks like there's information being covered up, that's the best way for conspiracies to fester. And Democrats are seizing on that opportunity, seizing on some of these conspiracies to try to put pressure on the president. This has now then created a situation where this topic, this story, is hot on both sides of the political aisle. Both sides have something to politically gain from it. And so that's why, in part, it's becoming so viral. I also think that this is one of those things where every time Donald Trump or an ally tries to, fan the flames and say there's nothing to see here, it motivates people to say, hey, wait a minute, I think there is something to see here. And so I don't think that this is going away from the news cycle anytime soon.
11 Republicans, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Democrats. Should be more, should be a lot more. Why wouldn't you want them unsealed? We've got to stop with this bullshit using the victims to shield the perpetrators. We don't want the victims to be known. Oh, you're so full of shit. Redact their names and put everything else out there. Oh, but the perps are rich and they can hire lawyers and we're afraid of being sued. You're such pussies, all of you. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video. My name is Jake Day. YouTube thinks that you will like this video right here, so check that one out and we will see you in the next one. Peace.